And the next day, the organizer of our entire trip invited us on a small adventure.
They gave me a little hint about what will be there, and I'm a wildly curious person. But nobody told me, so we'll do it. Guess what, my friend?
Honestly, I didn't grasp the situation.
Oh my holy cow, unbelievable.
Al Ula is a tourist spot in Saudi Arabia, and right now it's being built up in all sorts of ways. Significant amounts of money are being invested specifically in Al Ula to develop tourism, And in Al Ula, there are already a lot of enjoyable activities to do, which naturally we will certainly explore. First, we need to settle in and take a breather. They arranged a large villa for us with around 10 rooms. At that moment, I realized all the interesting stuff was inside the villa with the Arabs. This date palm garden is, in fact, an illustration of how modern art is incorporated into the natural environment. And in this garden, for instance, you have the opportunity to encounter a wide variety of contemporary artwork created by artists of all kinds.
I am not really into modern art, but it seems to me that even those who are, nah.
He will not understand what is being talked about here at all.
Please demonstrate it to me, if you would.
Okay, our team did not really appreciate them. No, modern art in general, it is kind of unique and symbolizes what the artist wants to convey and express through their work.
And how he desires to express his thoughts and his soul. So like every individual wants to make an impact.
On their own turf, on the ground, and each person does it in their own unique way. However, that is merely a small instance of how modernity is being integrated into the natural environment. Here's a bigger example. This rock is called Fil, and it translates from Arabic as elephant. And they surrounded this rock with restaurants, cafes,
and they established ottomans for individuals to unwind.
This is a small example of how Saudi Arabia attracts tourists to Al Ula, specifically to the point of Al Ula. Now, Saudi Arabia is booming in tourism. For instance, all these places, locations, etc. were once an absolute desert.
Suddenly people built hotels, created cities out of nowhere.
There's even a whole city being built.
Even the Saudi Sheikh's kings, who had villas right on the shores of the Red Sea, simply demolished them and built new ones in a different place,
To construct this city, develop tourism. Almost all of Al Ula is currently under construction. They allocate substantial budgets in this area and simply construct an entire city from the ground up. And we all know that currently the source of revenue for Saudi Arabia is oil. And this individual, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Salman, devised a strategy on how to diversify away from the primary source of income, specifically oil, for tourism and other forms of growth. And on banners or a water bottle in Saudi Arabia, you can see the inscription 2030, which means that by 2030 they will complete the construction of this city, Neom. Al Ula will be Saudi Arabia's calling card for travelers, specifically the city they're building for entertainment.
In this part of Saudi Arabia, specifically in the northwest, about 70 kilometers from here, they're building a new city called Neom. The city will be built as a line stretching from the sea through the mountains for 100 kilometers. A future city with no transportation on top, all transportation hidden below, with only living environment for people on top, where it will be used. The latest technology where everything ecological will be used, everything that is supposed to be there. City of the future. The entire area will include Al Ula, a tourist center, Neom, a modern city of the future, and will also include natural landscape, historical and cultural reserves. This is like a territory the size of a small state.
Oh yes, a couple of individuals from Arab countries also joined our trip.
And by the way, they're a bunch of fun guys.
If you noticed, one of our trip participants was a girl. A couple of years ago, it was absolutely unthinkable in Saudi Arabia that a girl would drive.
Several years ago, a girl in Saudi Arabia would not even have the ability to look at or talk to him. The most amazing thing was when they gave us the opportunity to drive the vehicle ourselves. I'm already on the go. I'm also working as a travel guide here.
As mentioned before, Al-Ula is becoming a tourist center, and currently DesertX is happening there, and naturally we chose to visit it too. DesertX is a non-profit organization designed to hold periodic international exhibitions of contemporary art, where every artist can showcase their work. The first DesertX took place back in 2017 and featured 16 artists from all over the world who were creating works of art. In 2020, the organization held its first exhibition outside of the United States and helped bring a project to life in the Al-Ula Desert in Saudi Arabia. Right now at DesertX you can see, for example, this kind of artwork. Or, for example, walls that make themselves into patterns. Well, that is some modern art for you, or perhaps land in a dome. Once again, our trip participants did not really appreciate this modern art.
Honestly, it is pretty interesting here. Every sculpture has its own person who tells everything. So there is this person behind me who is explaining to everyone who approaches this exhibit the significance of it. When explaining this, it already looks at least more interesting.
As I said, in Al-Ula they invest big money in tourism, and DesertX and such performances are also one of those ways. Huge amounts of money are involved. And while we were there, even a princess of Dubai came. Can you imagine the level of tourism development?
I hope contagiously.
It was precisely 1 year ago.
Lots changed, hasn't it?
A lot. When we arrived, there was nothing. Wooden seats, trash, and a cafe have opened now in the place where we went up there before. And where we start, it's already different. There were rovers there before, bicycles appeared, horses appeared. Restaurants have popped up in the cities, good old Arab traditional restaurants where you can grab a bite.
Still being built?
Yeah, they're still building more and more. And in Talbuk too, there's a whole lot of it now. The price of terrorists here is not very good. Go take a break for 4 or 5 days, see unseen things.
They frequently cram in here in these natural setups, other eateries like cafes and so on. All of this looks pleasing. As for this narrow passage, at the end of this tunnel, let's say, at the end of this tight spot is a cafe. There was a big restaurant, but now there's just a small coffee shop. On the walls of this narrow pass, there are inscriptions from before the Islamic era of Saudi Arabia several thousand years ago. Nearly every rock in Al-Ula contains these inscriptions, and it is simply a part of history. Until now, this was not considered history, and even locals didn't pay attention to it. But on the walls of some cliffs you can see clear inscriptions of ancient Arabic language. And there's even a spot in Al-Ula that the locals call the local Twitter. You won't believe it, but there's this place with a ton of ancient inscriptions, and some of them you can even make out.
Muhammad, Allah's messenger.
The next thing on our agenda is the Mirror Theatre.
Believe it or not, this building is included in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest mirror building in the world. The area of mirror cladding of facades is about 10,000 square meters, and they taught the mirrored facade to withstand harsh desert elements, so that, again, the mirrors wouldn't wear out and become cloudy. This building is a UNESCO WHS. Al-Ula in principle is now a UNESCO WHS. Both are part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Inside Maraya, there is both a concert hall for 550 spectators and a land art installation that showcases various contemporary artworks. As for the concert hall, unfortunately we couldn't get in there, but we did manage to get into land art.
This exhibition is made for women. Her name is Basma Suleiman. And she took it upon herself because her son had died. And she took it because he loves art, he loves painting, he loves works. And so she made this drawing for him.
As is usual for modern art, while viewing the object you don't comprehend anything.
They have some really interesting stories about all these modern architectures, everything they do. But you look at it and you're like, damn, how the hell did you even come up with this, dude?
After that we slept, and tonight we'll sleep in an amazing place, namely in the desert, in tents under the stars.
Honestly, I slept like a baby because...
It was comfy, super soft and cozy, so over time it started getting warmer.
And warmer, though it was very cold initially. What a camping ambience.
The bed in this place is very cozy, and the tent itself is insulated because it was quite cold in this location. This wipe is like when you sleep.
You are experiencing extreme cold while sleeping in a tent, and it is like really, really interesting.
By the way, we had a tea vendor with us who continuously poured us Mauritanian tea throughout the entire time, and it had a truly peculiar taste. Well, as you can see, he doesn't really suit me.
That's how... The subtitles were created by Dima Torzok, a skilled individual who put in great effort and expertise to ensure accurate and high-quality subtitles for an enhanced viewing experience. Dima Torzok's dedication and talent shine through in the exceptional subtitles provided. Fanhose is discouraged.
The whole Al-Ula is filled with historical sites, and now we're not just talking about cave paintings but even bigger objects. The first place, which also has a story in the Quran, is where Moses Musa struck the staff and 12 springs of water gushed out.
Day, even after so many thousands of years, this water remains clean and fresh. I took a sip from it. It's very smooth, so delicate.
The subsequent location, which is also mentioned in religious scriptures, is the place where Moses crossed the Red Sea from Egypt to Jordan, as documented in historical accounts.
For instance, Denmark, Palestine, and King.
Musa Aistaran, he originated from this place and that place. They unlocked the water and mountains on his behalf.
He's been there 12 years. In the era of Moses, there existed a people known as the Madianites. Moses encountered them immediately after his departure from Egypt and crossing of the sea.
So there was this tribe that lived here. They were called the Madianites. The tribe eventually fell into deep paganism, idolatry, and committed wickedness. The historical events we're talking about right now happened around the time of the prophet Moses, peace be upon him. The prophet Moses lived here, among this tribe, the Midianites, for 10 years before his prophetic revelation, and worked for a man named Shuaib, who was a prophet sent by the Almighty specifically to save, comfort, and guide this lost nation onto the right path. Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, worked for 10 years before his prophetic mission under Prophet Shuaib. He married his daughter along with the daughter of Prophet Shuaib, and with his wife and family, he moved to Egypt again to lead his people out of the captivity of the pharaohs. And later, when the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, was leaving Egypt, Allah the Almighty split the sea for him, parted the thickness of the water, so that they could pass through the bottom of the strait from Egypt to Arabia, and he again came to the lands of the Midianites. The Almighty caused the destruction of the Midianite people due to their grievous transgression. The Almighty smote them, there ain't no more of them left. In the biblical version, this happened by the hands of the Jews who had resettled here, who were clearing space for themselves to live. At that time, Jews were pure monotheists. In the mountains there was another tribe, the Samudites or Samudians, to whom was sent long ago, many centuries before the Midianites, another prophet, Prophet Salih, peace be upon him. And this tribe also received the punishment of the Almighty Allah, and it was destroyed. In the south of the Arabian Peninsula in Yemen lived another people, the Aad or Adites, to whom the Prophet Ahu was sent.
And this is already Madain Salih. Madain Salih is a majestic and significant ancient city built during the pre-Islamic period. The territory of Madain Salih is really huge, and people usually get around either by SUVs or buses. All these tombs were built before our era. Imagine, they're about 5,000-6,000 years old. On this land, people keep finding tombs, and they continue to multiply. Currently, they have accumulated approximately 200, if not more.
These are actually graves that were built here by the people under Hitler, if I'm not mistaken. So these graves were made even before our era. Imagine how everything has been preserved. Naturally, only rich people, wealthy families could afford such graves. Each grave belonged to a wealthy family, and each family is interred in them. Each drawing above the grave holds a significant meaning.
By way of illustration, this eagle represents the coat of arms of the family interred in this tomb. The squares situated above the tomb symbolize their prevailing religion at that particular time. Additionally, it bears a striking resemblance to the renowned Jordanian archaeological site Petra, as both were constructed by the ancient Nabatean civilization. Subsequently, the following day, I confronted the challenge that I had harbored the greatest fear of, and it proved to be an incredibly daunting experience for me. And more specifically, let's conduct a thorough check of the height. But before we hop on the hot air balloon, let's take a thrilling spin on the helicopter first and check out the breathtaking atmosphere from above.
So basically we're running late for the plane here. We arrived a little late. I hope we'll make it.
How can you understand? We got on the helicopter, but the fear of heights became even greater from this. Upon takeoff, I witnessed the breathtaking beauty, and the fear of landing inexplicably vanished. Al-Ula is a treasure trove of cultural heritage and stunning natural beauty. In Al Ula, there are oases, mountains, and ancient cultural heritage sites that date back thousands of years. Currently, in Al Ula, they've discovered around 27k archaeological monuments and continue to find more. And even from above, you can see ancient houses buried in sand. And now, when Saudi Arabia has given an opportunity to visit historical sites to see beauty, why not take advantage? Don't compare Saudi Arabia with the Emirates. In Dubai, for example, you can see cool cars worth millions of dollars.
In Saudi Arabia, this is a rare event. Honestly, Arabs drive regular cars, and most of them are usually beat up and banged up.
But most importantly, they need to be good inside the car. But as soon as you start driving with the Arabs themselves, you understand why practically all cars in Saudi Arabia are either scratched, dented, or just completely unrecognizable as cars.
So they drive however they want, they do whatever they want on them. Basically, all Arabs break the rules, all Arabs drive. Just like any old way. I even traveled with a participant. He's driving, crossing one leg over the other, chilling. For them, it's totally normal. Even if there's a wrecked car like this, for them it's normal, you know. And basically, Arabs treat almost everything as disposable, you know, like consumables. Clothes, cars. They enjoy communicating more, living in the moment, so to speak. We're here.
To the location that I was genuinely terrified to find myself in.
No need.
I'm unsure if I was upset about this news, but the balloons were tied to the cars, making it impossible to lift them above 20 meters.
Using sim. This is a bit disappointing, as we only ascended about 25 meters and desired to go higher. But he was like, the weather, the wind and stuff, you can only do it tomorrow morning. The fear is still there.
Well, on the final day in Al Ola, we contemplated how we could depart without encountering that renowned Arabic sand drift.
Around here. What's up? Your origin?
I can't.
I've been to many places, seen many things.
I swear the best trip of mine, she was a real whirlwind. And in terms of information about their religion, and there are numerous touristy and historical places that attract a large number of visitors. I would like to give a huge shout out to Marvel Tour, first and foremost for my brothers and the fans, for organizing this incredible trip. I think tourists won't regret it.
Honestly, I have to say I'm not a fan. Subtitles made by Dima Tours of Dubai, the Emirates, but I've never been there and didn't want to. However, I am astonished that in Saudi Arabia there still exists this Arab authenticity, along with a multitude of beautifully diverse places, and simultaneously there are such hospitable people. And at the same time, with all that, the Govd itself, well, I mean, it's not like it's spontaneous, you know, it's all supported, infrastructure is made. That's cool, I liked it.
The journey is absolutely incredible. I acquired a multitude of new things that I was not expecting at all. Thanks a lot, Parliament. I think that from now on, a multitude of things are going to undergo transformation in life. I am simply grateful for these trips. I have not had a solitary free minute without obtaining something new on this trip.
Sure thing.
We will bring people. Ahlan, welcome. Howdy, we wait for you.
We reached our destination in Mecca. Now we are going to Kimbras for the second time during our trip. And now we have a very interesting cab driver. And now we have stopped right here.
Let's get tea with him and then go back to Mecca.
This person made the decision to travel to Mecca in order to visit the Kaaba thoroughly, examining it from the top to the bottom.
Even just looking out from the hotel window, you can see places where big history went down. For instance, right here is where the first revelation came to the Prophet Muhammad. And at this point, Hagar, the wife of Abraham, was running from Mount Marwa to Mount Safa, looking for water. And it was here that the water of Zamzam started to flow. Later, they relocated the Zamzam source closer to the Kaaba, and now it is situated there. And the Al-Haram Mosque keeps growing. Currently, they're constructing an additional floor and expanding the surrounding area. And even everything around Al-Haram, like hotel complexes, will be renovated. Almost all the hotels around the mosque will be of this shape. Saudi Arabia is a sacred place for all Muslims, and if you are a Muslim, you must visit the cities of Medina and Mecca, without a doubt. You'll feel that unforgettable sensation you'll recall forever. But Saudi Arabia isn't just filled with the cities of Medina and Mecca. In Saudi Arabia, there are also fascinating architectural objects that are over 8,000 years old, which you can experience up close. Currently, Saudi Arabia is actively promoting tourism, which is evident in destinations such as Al-Ula, and Saudi Arabia really has preserved that Arab vibe, that Arab atmosphere that practically doesn't exist anywhere else anymore. And given that Saudi Arabia is currently accessible to all individuals who desire to visit, do not overlook such a chance. Fly to Saudi Arabia, visit the holy cities, check out all those architectures, and get a taste of the history that's embedded in Saudi Arabia itself.